So I've read through the rest of it. So first we have the definition of adultery in here as any sexual intercourse by a married person other than with that person's spouse is adultery, which is prohibited. And it just says it's prohibited, not, but it does go on to have this separate section of 18-7-208 on promoting sexual immorality. And this one also was removed at the same time. Kind of like putting those little pork on a bill. That's what I think. When you're talking all in the media only about the adultery part, this is the more important part, because this is classified as a Class 2 misdemeanor, and it reads as this. Any person for monetary gain who furnishes or makes available to another person any facility knowing that the same is to be used for or in aid of sexual intercourse between persons who are not husband and wife, and listen carefully to the next part, because this is it, or for in aid of deviant sexual intercourse, or who advertises in any manner that he furnishes or is willing to furnish or make available any such facility for such purposes, commits promoting sexual immorality. So sexual immorality is a Class 2 misdemeanor, and you could be convicted of the crime there and arrested there. That also was repealed. Now let me make the point that in this, it already said that this place, that they're talking about that this person owns would be used for adultery, because it says for people who are not husband and wife. So we got that out of the way. And we also at the time assume that not husband and wife would also mean homosexuals, because at the time this law was written, we didn't have civil unions or whatever it is now, gay marriage, and so you couldn't be husband and wife. Well, and I don't know if you're husband and husband. Anyway, so that automatically gets homosexuals and adultery off the list of people. And then we have to assume that masturbation is off the table too, because it's, by yourself. So, what is deviant sexual intercourse? Well, and masturbation is an intercourse. So, deviant sexual intercourse. If we're not talking about homosexuality, if we're not talking about adultery, and we're not talking about masturbation, what is left? What sexual intercourse is possible to have other than that? Think. Okay, got it? Yes. This is a law that this law would have protected against people making their houses or places of business a place where people can come and have sex with children or animals. That's the only two I could think of. So if you have another idea of what that means, let me know. Okay, because I might be wrong, and if I am, I will fucking apologize. But this is very interesting to me, because this is put out there by Hickenlooper, who is a good friend with all of the other usual suspects in these things. And one that comes to mind is Michael Hancock. Michael Hancock, if you don't know, is a Colorado politician who a couple years ago got in some trouble for being connected to a prostitution ring, the Denver Players. And he has another friend, a friend who just got in trouble with the IRS, I believe, and having another charge would probably not do this person any good. So I'm assuming since he's friends with Hancock, maybe he's friends with Hickenlooper. And perhaps this bill is to protect people like him, because this man owns a place called the Scarlet Ranch. His name is Scott Ewing, and Scarlet Ranch was a swingers club here in Denver. I'm not sure if it's still around. I think it moved to Las Vegas, but he could still be, I think he was facing charges or something. I will look into it and get an update for you. But This would make sense as a payback or a payoff from Hickenlooper to Ewing. Do you not see that? A man who kept a place, it was a swingers club, yes. But sometimes things are used after hours for other things. Or maybe the elite have a back room, you don't know. And if it would be anywhere, that's the kind of place it would be. And this goes on, and these people are the ones who do it. It's the people who are in high-level positions. They rape children, they have orgies, sex parties, murders, sacrifices. I mean, it's disgusting and almost unbelievable what they do. So this is not beyond the realm of possibility. I think that this was either a payoff to keep him from talking, because he has threatened to expose some of his old friends who have now turned on him while he's, taking the fall. But this is not what it seems to be, and I want people to start paying attention, because I missed this, and maybe it could have been exposed, and the fact that they even wanted to pass this bill shows that there's something going on, and they know something about some kind of deviant sexual intercourse that's going on somewhere. Somebody is benefiting from this, either by just not having the law there, and that way they don't get arrested, and they can go on doing what they're doing, or to get someone out of trouble. I am convinced of it, that this is not about adultery. It's not about removing the law, because the law was not affecting anyone. The only thing you did with this bill was show your children that our government agrees with the immorality of this nation. And that is a sad thing. You guys want to say that it's great, that, this is outdated, and I do agree, we shouldn't legislate morality. But this was already on the books. Why mess with it? Because by unlegislating it, you did legislate morality. And you said your morality is no morality. That's the message that you send. I'm sorry, that's the message that I get. And that's the message your kids get. Ask them. Ask a teenager if they know about this, what they think of it. They'll think, oh, well, everybody does it now, so, we shouldn't prosecute it. That's what they say. Everybody does it? You think that? That shouldn't be the way that they think. They should think that this is a prohibited act. And it should be prohibited. Not illegal. But the problem with this country has nothing to do with money or immigration or any of these problems we make it. The core problem is our morality. Our morality has caused all these other problems to get out of control. Because if we all had a moral code that we lived by, these things wouldn't occur. We wouldn't have to legislate all these things. We wouldn't have to debate guns and things like that. We wouldn't have disease running rampant, drug use, all of these things. If we had a family unit that could stay strong, you would be happier and life would be prosperous. And we had that at one time. And we decided not to have that. We forgot what freedom means. And I don't fault Rockwell for this, or the writer who wrote this. But I don't, because I understand, and I do at one level kind of agree with them, But I do not think they got the picture, that's all. They just didn't, they weren't looking at it from I'm not going to say the right angle, because that is an angle, but that is an angle that was covered and out there. So I just want people to look deeper at everything. Because behind a lot of these stories is some pretty nefarious things that's being overlooked, because we're being programmed too by the mainstream media to not look farther. Because they only present surface things, they only present surface issues, so somehow that has conditioned our minds to expect certain surface issues and to not look past them. And to not even want that. So we have to watch our own conditioning, be conscious that you are conditioned, that you are brainwashed, conscious of it all the time, so that you can have the best effect of countering that. Because that's what I do. I read over stuff, I go, oh yeah, and then I go, wait a minute, did I even really process that? Or did I just read through it and take in information? Because processing information and remembering information are two different things. So let's remember that. That's why this Common Core reading stuff is so important, because when you take out great works of literature and where you need to use your imagination and you have to actually process information, and you switch over to only reading like manuals and texts and stuff like that, which is what they're doing, then you switch from a critical thinking human being to someone who, yes, can take in a lot of information and remember it, which can be useful, but you cannot use that information. You will never truly be a human being capable of thinking beyond what is written in front of you. So, anyway, that's that. I'm rambling as usual. Much love. God bless. And might I note to you the the audacity of Channel 4 when I was looking through these things. They're like, we're not going to report on it because we want to have all our sources right, and we're just not going to stoop to that level of hashly reporting on a sex scandal on the mayor or whatever. And it's like, really? Because you rush to judgment with everything else, you put out false things all the time, but they don't want to get into this one. They don't want to touch it because they are controlled by these people, and they're scared, or they're pussies. And I'm calling them out. I don't care. So don't tell me it was your journalistic integrity, because you don't have any. Any of the mainstream media, not a drop of integrity. None of them. And if you work there, I'm sorry if I offended you, but you know it's true. So